bad at figuring out how this works. So okay, there I am. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Product Like It's Friday. It is Wednesday, midweek. Let me just get myself oriented. So, yesterday I came on here to do some animation. So, tried two different methods just to recap the last two sessions, honestly. Tried two different methods of animating. Very simple illustrations. The first method was using editing the SVG directly. And then the second one that I tried was using the Lottie platform, I guess. I do realize that I actually have not tried the other method of Lottie. So maybe I would quickly do that while Adnan takes a bit of time to join. He will be joining later today to actually, I think we're going to try to figure out how to get the animations into the app itself, and probably some learning moments in terms of how we do that in the code. So while we wait for that, I'm actually going to share my screen and just play around with the Lottie plugin on Figma a little bit, because why not? It is one more method, right? And it's never too late to learn. Let me just share my screen. Not sure why it's not happy with me. All right, I am sharing my screen. I just need to wait. Where is it? Not sure why it's not showing up. Share. There we go. There we go. Third time's the charm. Okay, so last time I spent some time, I guess I should share the versions that we've got so far, just to compare the process. So unfortunately, bear with me for a sec while I get myself sorted. Okay, there it is. I guess for some housekeeping, I did add them to this Notion page. We are not a company, so we just have a very informal way of communication and just start jotting down notes. So I think Adnan started this list of to-dos. I'm going to give it a heading because I like some structure. And then this is basically the list of items that we've tackled so far. And the last couple of things are animations, sounds. I did some redesign work on the correct and incorrect screens so that we can emphasize the next player. So that's do a to-do. And then in the original designs, I had upload CSV for, I guess, importing a list of players. But we kind of determined that's not really necessary because we don't have players, we don't have facilitators, nobody's asking for it, so why are we building it? So today I want to spend some time on animations, and for some context, this is pretty much a recap of the last two sessions. One is using the SVG directly, so I'm going to share this tab. So this is kind of the result of 2.5 sessions of editing the SVG and the CSS and all that stuff. The one thing that I was still not the most happy with is like this one particular raindrop, man. It gives me so much grief. And it probably looks fine to everybody as well. I'm looking at it way too much, to be honest. It just feels like it's slanting to the right, to the left a little bit too much. So we may or may not tweak that. But other than that, I spent the second half of my time yesterday on using Lottie to create this trumpet animation. So it does a little, like, it tilts up very subtly and the music notes kind of do a little dance. So coupled with sound, I think it's gonna look cool, but we'll see. And then lastly, the last illustration that I have not touched is a coffee cup animation. So let me share what that looks like on Figma. There it is. So this is the illustration. So these are the three that we're working with here. Note that in the rain one, I did edit it a little bit directly in the SVG so that it has a little gradient, but not really torn up about it. I think Adnan was saying that we could just change the trajectory of this one raindrop that bothers me, so that it looks more natural. I think the problem is, by the way, is that like this looks fine as a static image, but when you translate it down all the way here, it starts looking like it's spilling, like it's not going the right direction. So just, I guess, a lesson learned about translating a static vector art into something that moves, something that has more physics involved. I'm not sure why my screen sharing keeps like breaking. Moment. Is it me? Okay, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if it keeps happening. So the last one is the mug. And I had mentioned that, we tried two different methods of animating it. I think both approaches have their own learning curve, and I'm okay with using either, to be honest. So I'd love to have a discussion about how does a designer and developer determine which method is the right fit for what we're doing. Because I can imagine, like, if there's a lot of animation in an app, then it's probably better for the designer to create it in Lottie and just pass on that file, so that the developer doesn't need to be fussing around the CSS way too much. But while we're here, I wanted to just play around with the Lottie plugin on Figma, because I've never done that, and I heard that it can be pretty fun to do. So what I've done here, actually I'm going to start from scratch, is I want to use the mug frame and just make a copy of it so I'm not messing with the original file. And first of all, shortcut time. I think it's Command backslash on the Mac or Control backslash on Figma. Super handy, because you just pull up like basically a shortcut for anything. So there's things like the stuff that you've done before. Find more. I don't think I've done that. And then I think first draft is AI powered, just like FYI. And you can also find your assets. So if you're like looking for a specific component from your design system, you can easily do that. So you can be like, I want the text input or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing that came up. Or you can be like, I want the icon, a specific icon. And then you can also look at plugins, which is what I want to do here. So I don't have to go to that tab if I know what I'm looking for already, so I can just search it. I can also, what else can I do here? Yeah, I guess there's a lot of plugins that could be helpful to maybe walk through one day as well, that are not built in on Figma, but just helpful as a designer. So there's a lot of things that take time if you don't use plugins. So Lottie, we got here, and what I'm seeing right away is that when I just open it, it's saying you gotta select multiple frames, which makes sense. And based on this, I'm like, this looks easy enough. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And I don't know what this is. Like, what is this? So this is just a couple examples. I'm just going to look at it a little bit closer. Okay, so there's a couple different animation modes, looks like. And then essentially you're connecting different frames to each other. Okay, cool, let's do that. So this is a frame. Just by the way, this is what's it called? An instance of a component. So the component is here. Or just these things. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. While you are joining, I started playing with the Lottie plugin on Figma because it might be easier. We'll see.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Maybe like I'll test it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, take as much time.
Cool. Yeah, so I've always known this plugin is a thing. I just have not touched it. Again, more design things. This is a component that basically any changes I make here will be reflected on any instances that reference it. No reason why I'm sharing that, but that is what that is. I think what I'm going to do is detach the instance because I don't need it to be so dependent on the thing. And I'm going to just make a duplicate of it. And just for testing purposes, I know like ideally I'm tweaking this by hand, but just to see if it does what I wanted, I'm just going to tilt it a little bit and see if it does the thing in my head. And I'm also going to, do I want it to be maybe a little bit? We'll see. Subtle, but, and then basically I'm expecting that clicking export is going to give me some options. Okay, it's doing what I expected. That's good. And then the other thing I wanted to see is actually if there is. I feel like I did this a different way earlier. I wanted to see if I can like just flip this. Let's flip that. Flip. And see what happens there. Okay, yeah, it's not very happy with this. Yeah.
I love it. Ship it.
So what happens is that all the animation will only animate if the structure is identical. And because this was flipped, it's just like, oh, let's flip it in the animation. And a quick and dirty method that I do not endorse is just to flatten it. I think it should work. We'll see. Oh, my Lottie disappeared. Where's Lottie? No. Okay, I lied.
I like that one better.
I do not endorse this method. It does not work, clearly.
Why did you think that it was going to work? I'm just curious.
I thought it was going to work because like flattening the vector kind of resets it.
Do you also have to flatten the original as well? Like, I guess, or did we?
The original should be flattened.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But I had this working at some point that was kind of cool. So maybe let me try. Bear with me. Let me try like one more thing. I'm gonna detach that, and I still wanna reverse this. Reverse. Shit, I shouldn't. So if I flatten the group, it's gonna get combined into, I think, one shape. Yeah, so I don't want that. So unfortunately, I have to flatten them. Alt Shift F. Oh, but the keys. I'm just gonna do it the slow way. And then Lottie. Yeah, this is what I was seeing earlier, because I was like, what is this? You know, like that's interesting. Like that could look cool.
Sorry. I mean, yeah, okay, there's a lot happening there for
There's
sure.
a lot happening. But like these are like the default animation modes. And I think what I'm not really understanding is like why is it that when I have a instance of a component, it does a different thing versus when I detach it. And this is more just me being like, what the heck? Like, why? Like, why does this work? So I will definitely dig into that later and just be like, what is happening here? But I'm happy to hand it off to you, or like we can chat about the two methods that we have tried to animate things, and how we can put that into the app.
Before we jump into the coding aspect, I wouldn't mind discussing this window and the raindrop that you have here, Mary.
Yes.
And you said this one raindrop, I guess the leftmost is bothering you.
This one.
Just rotate it here.
I know.
Just there you go, and that's it. We're done.
Problem solved.
We're done. What are we talking about here? Like
man.
what's you wanted something more intense, more like involved?
No, I know. It only clicked for me when I opened Figma today, that I was
Okay.
like, oh, like we don't need to do that in the code.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna save this and put that. I think, yeah, I will save this as a SVG and just copy that one specific. Oh man, how am I gonna figure out which raindrop it is? Okay, I'll figure it out.
And also, by the way, at least one person, Web Dev Insider, thinks that the cup flipping was cool. I don't know if they're referencing the specific cup flipping or the Lottie animation collection within Figma. So it's unclear exactly what they thought was cool.
I mean, I think this is cool, but only for
I think
only if it happens once.
Yeah, I think it's too cool. If you know what I'm saying.
Just
it's
like just don't repeat it, you know?
It's a lot. I mean, I guess the original animation that you were going for, is it like kind of the snake sort of thing
like
with the
more subtle, I think.
Yeah, I just want those things to be like this, right? Like they just go.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's called. I don't know.
Squiggle.
Yeah.
Wiggle. Yeah.
Is that something you would want to? Maybe not. Maybe in the background if you want to ask our friend to see, like, hey, even if you take a screenshot, like, because it takes images as well.
Yeah, true.
So you could say, hey, I have this and I want to animate this aspect of it.
Yeah, I can do it. Like I can go in here and just edit the paths.
Okay. Why don't we do that?
I don't want to. No, I'm kidding.
I don't want to.
I was hoping that, like, by flipping it can set a foundation that then I can tweak.
I hear you wanted magic. I hear you.
But I will definitely do that in the background while we figure out what to do with our existing animations. The other thing before we start doing that is I want to see if I can share audio because I watched the last stream and I was like, no, none of the audios played, and that really sucked. So I think what I probably did wrong is I shared like the whole window, and I should share just a tab.
Yeah, that's what it seems like when you go to share the tab. Yeah, it says down there to share audio, share a tab instead. I can hear it.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Okay,
Loud
we
and
can
clear.
talk about the sounds later, but just wanted to test it.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. So, oh, how do I bring you?
No, it's you. It's your show now. It's what did you do?
I am not good at this thing. I joined and I could not see myself for for a moment, and I was like, "What is happening?" Um, okay, so last two streams, we did a lot of like animation business,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I don't have a strong preference one way or another in terms of like, do we edit the SVG, or do we use Lottie? So I'm curious if you have a inclination.
Yeah, I think for animations that can be simply described in CSS, that would be my preference, right? Um, and if it's something more complicated that couldn't be done using CSS, that's leveraging like a more deeper Lottie sort of edition, then I feel like that makes sense. Um, but it seemed to me that most of the animations that you'd configured using Lottie for our trumpet can be done.
Yeah.
And Lottie exports to the CSS, correct?
I think so.
Okay, let's do that. If you don't mind, Mary, sending me the link to your CodePen as a first step, and maybe we can work on this, getting that animation.
It's all on the Notion page.
Okay, perfect. Oh, what did I just do?
The one that's called Play. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you did here. Oh, okay. And this pen, that's right. You exported this near the end of your stream. Let me open that. Let me open this. Let's take a quick look here as well. And let's. Oh, this is just a.
I can look at like the export
Okay, got
as
it.
well.
Yeah. So this is pulling in Lottie, and then like this is also. I mean, this is not bad. It's we could try it and see what it feels like. Yeah, I guess by default it wouldn't be my instinctual go-to for this kind of thing. Okay, I am not a user of CodePen, and I want to ask it to show me both HTML and CSS at the same time, and it doesn't want to. That's fine. We'll live. Okay, I guess before we start implementing, I'll give you some of the comments that I had on, I guess, the organization of some of the code.
Yeah.
Super simple, nothing complex. For example, you have this line here that's repeated 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably a good practice because it's applied to raindrop top. Oh, I can't. Can I edit? Oh, I can't edit. It's the classic Mary Gambit. Well, she'll share a Figma with you.
I can share.
She'll share a Figma with you, but then you can't edit it. Oh, you know what? I think this is because it's an embed. Maybe I'm just taking I'm wild guess. So yeah, maybe if you share a direct link, or
if you swap embed with pen, like PEN, it should.
There you go. This is the CodePen I know and love. Okay, so the thought would be that you want to refactor this at some point when you realize that they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can remove this from all this. And the reason you want to do that is if at any time you wanted to change anything here, then you have to change it in 3 places instead of just the one place. And that's sort of the high level thought there. Really, honestly, that was really it.
Would you put it in the raindrop class instead?
You could do that, but it seems like the raindrop top animation is different from the raindrop bottom animation. So it living in
Right. Yeah.
the bottom
Yeah.
class. Yeah, so that would, I think it'd be more. I'm not going to do it for this one, but I just wanted to demonstrate very quickly
Okay.
what you'd want to do. Okay, so what I will do is I will go back to Figma, find the replaced window here, and no, the whole thing, rain, and copy as SVG. And what is this? Okay. Bring it back. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be every time for some reason. Okay, bring it back here. That's fine. We'll live with it. Okay, there. That my server's running there. I have no diffs in the code, and that image itself, I have here. Crying window. Okay, and we'll replace the whole thing full, kind of completely. I know in your code, Mary, you'd replace the fills. Did you also modify the fills as well?
I did.
But okay,
I did.
let me take a look. Yeah, okay.
I did actually.
So you had brought some of the fills out, and then we're using this thing here, and part of that lives inside here.
Yes.
Okay, so let me see if I can't find that here. There we go. And you have some defs here. I didn't know you could do that in SVG.
I did not either.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take the defs. I'm just scanning here to see if I find any other standouts other than the defs. No, that seems to be it. And all the fills seem to be gone. That's fine. So because this is a view component, I guess I'll begin with putting the defs in here. I believe I can put them anywhere I want. And at the bottom here, I'll have a style scoped. And what that does is it'll apply the styles in here only to this SVG or whatever's in this component. And hopefully that should work as expected.
How does like sizing work? Is
How
it
do you
just
mean?
the view box?
Yeah, so the SVG by default comes with a height and a width, but I'm going to remove it because I want whatever containing CSS that I'm going to put it in to decide the height and the width. I don't want it to happen through here. And then the view box, I think I'm not an SVG expert, could just decides what's the bounds from within. That's what I think. That's my understanding, but I'm not sure at all. Okay, so we have this. Let's just make sure that at least that replacement itself is functional. And now, I'm sorry to say, Mary, but this looks like it's too, look, this. It looks like it's a bit too.
Okay. Yes.
Do you disagree?
I agree, but I think.
Are you happy with it?
I'm happy with it because I think once it's animating, it will land towards the left corner.
Okay, great.
Bottom.
Oh, I see what you mean. Great. Okay, yeah. So let's see how we feel about it after we animate. Okay. So, right. So I want the code pen, not this one. I'll close this one. I want this code pen to be closer so I can fill in the rest. Yeah, okay. The other thing is, this is not a big deal, but can be relevant in particular contexts. ID applies to something that's only ever used once. So in this SVG, yes, that's correct. Like there's only one ID, and for some of the raindrops we duplicate. But I'm not 100% sure what would happen if we had multiple of these SVGs in the same file. Then my sense would be that this ought to also be a class. But in this particular usage case, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to verify 202.25. So let me try and find this so I know that I'm working with the right. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. Here, interesting. I guess, I mean, I would have assumed that anytime we export this, it just, that's fine. Let me try and find it by the color. B5FF. Oh, is this the only thing here? Oops, did not mean to do that. Let's see if that's, yeah, so this is our sky. And I can come back to the start of the line and say ID equals sky. And I can also begin to make some of the changes that Mary had, which is I can say sky. And it's recommending a fill, but for some reason, it's like, I don't care what your original fill was.
I'm curious what that color is.
Oh, you want to know? Okay, yeah.
I want to know. I want to know what AI thinks the color of sky should be.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I will also post this here. That's not, okay, that's fine. We'll come back to it. We'll get rid of it from here. And yep, we'll get rid of it from here. Go back into our code. I mean, I guess it'll be a bit hard to specifically see the difference. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what? If this was the original, then who would know? Who could tell? But in our case here, I will replace this. Oh, interesting. My my auto formatter is not working on the CSS area of this. It probably means I did not properly configure something's not properly configured. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Let's go back here. That's the sky we know and love. And let's slowly replace some of the other parts as well. So you have cloud and window. I can begin with window, hoping that you haven't particularly changed.
I think the window I needed to move to somewhere, like to the bottom, because in an SVG, basically the lower a component is, the more it basically has a higher Z index for some reason.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Okay, so in the code you had to adjust it. That's fine. We can do that when the time comes. So you have cloud and you have window. Okay, I'm going to bring the cloud in, and I'm going to bring the window in as well here. And
we have a question that feels very grand.
That is very grand.
Are you ready for the question?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that question, to be honest. Like, I have. Here's the thing. I will say this. I remember reading articles about quantum computing when I was a child. That was a very long time ago. Let's say 25 to 30 years ago, and being like, oh my god, if that happens, it's gonna be wild. But it hasn't quite happened yet, you know. And the articles there were like the future of quantum computing. This is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and I trust that it will at some point. It seems like we're pretty close. I recall seeing something from, I thought it was Microsoft or some company that had dibs on something regarding quantum computing, and then except you have to be at like really low temperatures for the process to properly run, so it's not quite commercially viable as yet. So
you read about quantum computing as a child?
Yeah.
Nice.
Why did you find that so enjoyable and funny?
I don't know.
I was a child once. How dare you?
I just find like the image of little Adnan reading about quantum computing very amusing.
I was fascinated by it, and so let's see. I got to go back here. This is my cloud. Let me label it properly. And then what's your, Hamad, what is your understanding of cloud computing? And the thing that terrified me about it was all our passwords are going to be cracked like this, like all the, because that's what I read in the article. It was predicted chaos. That article was like your bank information, all information that's stored will be hacked fairly easily given, the time it takes to crack a password with good encryption can be in like the millions of years or whatever, but with quantum computing we'll have it right away. So I don't know. I guess that hasn't happened yet, right? Nobody's. And you think, is that the first thing the researchers are going to do? Because they have some capacity to run some, trillions of commands, but at like, what's it called? Absolute zero temperature, right? So, well, hopefully the research, I guess they'll know everything about everyone and take all their money.
Yeah. I mean, the researchers are going to do whatever makes the most money the fastest.
I hope so. What's in it for them otherwise, just information? Okay, so I feel like I have gotten most of the bits here. Let me see. Not most of the bits. I just mean like these bits. So that cloud should now contain that cloud gradient in app as well. And then this, and this. So now we can begin starting to consider our raindrops. And the initial thing is adding this raindrop class to begin. So I'm going to copy it wholesale here. And unfortunately, I don't have auto formatting for some reason, which I will need to look into. And then, they're all hidden to begin. Interesting. Or they're all non-existent to begin. So as I start adding this, we should see them disappearing. Interesting. Class is equal to rain drop. And then I guess I need to do that. And we'll get it here. And then I can also get rid of those fills. Okay, so let me quickly check my messages. I would have, sorry, just give me 1 second. I would have copy pasted your changes in the CodePen Mary, except we changed, we changed the raindrop or what have you. So I started with the original. Otherwise, we could have probably skipped some of that. Okay, so we have raindrops, and now they should not be visible. Good. And then bring them back, make sure that they are what they are. Good. And then I guess I'll disappear them again. And now we can pull in Mary's animations bit by bit. Okay, so I need to know which ones are top and which ones aren't. So I'm okay, I'm okay being a little wild here and copying the animations and then seeing what happens. What I'll do is, following my own advice from before, I'm still gonna do one drop at a time. And I need to, I don't know if that drop is top or not. So I do actually need to do this to begin. That is a top drop. Let's bring back these one by one to see if these are all grouped together. So this one is not top. I'm assuming that one also.
Yeah, that's a bottom drop.
Yeah. So both of these are bottom drops, which we'll put here. And this one is also bottom, which leaves this one. Okay, so those are our top drops. And we'll do rain drop dash top here. And then repeat that here and here. And now they should be animating, which they are, except we don't have 3 of them. And there are some other oddities here. We can see them bleed through the cloud, probably because we need to start them without any opacity. So they, no, not true.
This is like what I was saying about like you gotta move the
I see what you mean. Got it. So let's do that now. This is the right time to do it as well. So you want the raindrops to be above the clouds?
Yes.
Okay. I can arrange that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put them here up top. And come on. I'm just trying to see whether I did anything particular. Let's put them back to where they were. I might have added something else. So now they are falling. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. They shouldn't be on the top. They should be, I just put them straight up top, which is wrong. That makes sense. They need to go in front of the sky.
Yeah, right.
And so they need to go here, I believe. And that's the place for the drops. Okay, cool. So we do have that drop bleeding a little bit through the edge here, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But we can deal with that. Oh, Mary, who did this? Who did this animation? who quality? Who was the?
It was me. It was me.
It was you. Okay. Okay, we'll play around with that a little bit. Let's see if we can't extend the window. And we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, okay, cool. So we have the top drops dropping, but one thing that's not happening is this continuous flow.
Mm-hmm.
So let's work on that first. And again, I'm going to do that one drop at a time still. And the idea is that we want 3 of these drops. So we should be able to put them in a loop here. And we do want I in, and we want 3 instead of 5. And I'm just trying to take a look here very quickly to see, I think, I'm going to see if I can't accept what the AI is giving me just to test something out. No, I don't want that. Okay, this one. I might have to do something with a key. I know in Vue, whenever you have eyes defined but never read, that's fine. Yeah, so this element needs the key. And we can do that here. And we'll specify the key as I. It doesn't like it. Oh, should be, yeah, that's what I had thought, and I wasn't sure. And then, but the error showed up here, so I thought, okay, fine. But anyway, okay, fine. V4 and key belong together. And then the other thing we want to do here is Mary had this concept of a layer. And we will also add the layer here. And then, I need to do that here in class. And here I can say something like layer and I plus 1, because I starts at 0. And now I should have 3 drops, although visually, I guess I could just make this. visually it's going to be difficult to see because they're all in the same place. They're all timed at the same time. So now we can bring in another advantage, Mary, is here, for example. Turns out we don't need this at all either, because this class applies to both layers, top and bottom, right? So if you notice, layer 1 is 0, right? Layer 2 is 1, and layer 3 is 3 for both. Mm-hmm. So that's another sort of layer, shall we say, of reducing or code duplication that we can remove. This scrolling is not, okay, there we go. I scrolled a little bit, but then it scrolled a lot, and then I went back to the top, and then it scrolled up top, so I could never quite get to the right line that I wanted to highlight. That's some feedback, I guess, for the CodePen folks if they want it. And so now we're here. Oh, I see a comment from Hamad saying a good programmer can hack Neuralink brain chips. I don't have any experience in quantum coding or biotechnology. I'm a lowly web developer, pushing pixels like my friend Mary.
Yeah.
So now,
do what pays.
I feel like quantum coding and biotech would pay as well. But it's probably too hard to accomplish, at least in a sort of a easy span of time. So okay, let me take a look here. Okay, sorry. So layer 1, 2, 3, and then I want the bottom stuff as well, and we'll get there in a. Well, I guess I'm jumping a little bit, but let me pull that bottom stuff in for now, and then let's see. So these are top drops, and what I actually want is to take these and put them in here. And so we're using some of that. Copy this bit here, and then, oops, not there. I want to go there and paste, wrong place, paste there, and then paste here. And that should create the 3 top drops. And it does, and they're continuously dropping. Great. And we'll do the same. Actually, you know what? Yeah, and for now, I'm going to comment these out. Just bring one of the bottom drops in, get this working. And then we'll see. And I do want this as well here. So, and then we'll bring these in as well, and then we'll give them the treatment. It should already be working, actually. The only thing that's not working, it seems, is it? Hold on. Yeah, it's not working. What am I missing? Let's see. I have drop higher here. I have, okay. When I copied it, I didn't correct it. So let's do that now. Get rid of that. And really that should be it for the drop working properly. And now once we bring in the other drops that we had commented out, over here and here, and get that in there, get that in there. And then I want, let me copy this bit and bring it here. And then same thing here. I feel like that should be it for the bottom drops. Oh no, these are top drops. What did I do wrong? Why didn't you tell me? Oh no, you moved them up. So they're all top drops in their heart. And now, yeah, this is it, right? Let's take a look at the original. It's raining, and it's also raining here.
Yeah, it looks good except for that.
Glaring, this glaring omission of quality.
I wonder, like
Um,
is it the window layer or?
It's I guess it's because this is a little slanted upwards as it comes here, and the whole thing is like that. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's happening here. One thought pattern that comes to mind is if we just have like a white thing over there, it's a dirty cover, but it's possible. Yeah, I don't have any other thoughts otherwise, really. But we have this functioning. I'm happy to quickly review this and commit it. Okay, let's go. Animated crying window. Okay. Okay, so we have the weeping window, which of course that's what I should have called it. And then I think we can take a look at the trumpet business now. And Mary, in the Lottie animation studio, does it have a CSS export? Of the thing?
Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Just in case, like, you can see things that I might miss. I'm gonna make this one go. Oh, tiny bit bigger. I was struggling with this last time too. All right.
Okay, let's see here. So that's still the embed. I wonder if, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna move ourselves away from the corner so I can actually see.
Other formats.
Scroll down, please. Is that it? Is that the bottom?
That's it.
Okay, if you scroll up, please, let's just review. Lottie, Jason, optimize. Scroll up, please. Is that it? Okay, that's it. That's it. And then one more time. Sorry for the handoff. There was a period of time I couldn't properly see. Oh no! So they are. It seems fairly committed to us using using the specific Lottie embed. What happens if you click on more? Oh yeah, you did that already. Sorry. I had to. The thing is, I have our streaming window in a smaller screen, so like I see this, and then when I moved it to a different screen, it wouldn't show me, and so I had to move. I had to resize the screen for it to display again. Sorry. So if you could bring that up again, one more time, the more thing. Yeah, I guess in this case, it's only going to give us ways to do this. That's fine. We can use this then. If you don't mind, maybe copy pasting both those blocks in the secret area that we have. And then the third thing that you'll have to also copy is the path to the Lottie.
What do you mean? Like the asset link?
Yeah, I guess it's already there here. So maybe I can start sharing my screen back again.
Okay.
And I guess the path to the Lottie is here. I remember seeing it here. So this is what I meant, the path to the Lottie.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it's what it says, path to Lottie in the embed as well. So okay, so we'll implement. I mean, we'll have both, I guess, in our app now. So let's go here and let's add Lottie view, and then we want to import it into our app. And so so that's done. I can restart the dev server here. Nope. Okay, and then here I want to go to the trumpet here, which we're using here. So we want to replace this with the Lottie component. So first thing is they have an import that we need. So this is they have a component. The only general downside of this, Mary, is that for now the Lottie is served from their thing, but I'm guessing maybe there's a way to just export the Lottie file itself, and then it becomes fairly okay. So this is what that looks like.
I'm also like, more as a exercise. I'm also happy to try to replicate it. Just because it's fun.
Yeah, and it's very particular too, right? Like, for example, it's like even in the slicing of, I don't know what it's called, like the animation, it's like editing a video, but you're doing it like those are keyframes essentially, right?
Yeah, I think like, yeah, I'm happy to try to do that, like in a similar way that I did the ring thing. Especially because like before you joined, I was talking about like how I can see if there's an app where there's a million animations, Lottie would make developers' lives easier.
Right.
But we only have 3, so.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's different use cases for different situations. Let's see if this isn't good enough for what we want. I think it looks great. Okay, so what happened was this said 500 pixels by 500 pixels. And so I modified it because this here 30 is 120 pixels. So I was like, oh, like I want to maintain that. But I guess that's having an adverse effect on the whole thing. And okay, so we have it in app. Maybe this is a little too large. What if I said height? But this 120 pixels is not that 120 pixels, but I want to see what happens. That's fine. We can probably make it 4 and 4 and see what that feels like. How did that happen? Okay, that's weird. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, what am I doing? So I changed this to 500, but I never changed this to 500. And it was the same. And then what happens if I change this to 400? That seems more like the spacing fit. And then get rid of this now. And I have a PY12 here, but it doesn't seem like that's the spacing. So yeah, this whole thing is bleeding over. I'll take a look at this later. I think for now I'm happy with the replacement. and the general functionality of this. So let's take a look at the diff. So we added the Lottie import package from npm, and then simply just imported their component. And now we're using their component and referencing the Lottie. There might be a way to download this as well, so we can figure that out at some point later. But for now, it's in animated trumpet. Okay. What else? What else? Oh no, so this is bad. This is wrong. I didn't even notice, but that question got pushed up as well, just because of this. So I feel like the Lottie itself, Mary, if there's a way in the Lottie panel to reduce the viewport, because it might not be taking out the whole thing, and therefore it's kind of taking up more than it ought to. And then ultimately, when you have it, all we need to do theoretically is replace the path to the Lottie and change the height and the width.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about one other thing in the app. Oh, I guess there's some implementation I have to do now, right? Because you changed things around. So
yes, to make your life harder.
So yeah. It's in the notes somewhere. So is there a different version? Oh no, here.
Go to UI v2 on the.
There. Okay. For some, I don't know why. For some reason, I was kind of expecting it to be below the first one, but this also makes perfect sense. So the screen I'm talking about is here. We actually get there's quite a bit of change. I will start here first because this trumpet is taking up a bit more. This trumpet is kind of man spreading on the page, and then once it knows its space and limitations, we'll let it back in. And here we want to just do a straight up incorrect, weeping, crying window, and then next up reference. So let us begin with that. And so that means in the correct, incorrect screens, there's a larger change, it seems. So here, yep, that's this. So the if statement is if answer state is pending, we do this. And then else we do this. Oops, I think I'm in the wrong place. So if answer state is pending, we do this bit, which is, our countdown timer, people answering. And otherwise, we just have the question answer information up here. And our images and animations down here. Instead, what we want now is an entire div on its own to represent reveal answer, which will be just this. So this becomes we else if answer state reveal answer. Okay, and then this is already giving me an error because these ifs will never happen because of this. Additionally, we need another one, and now this one can just be the plain old else. These can go away. And then here we don't even want the question or the answer. We want simply just a reference to whether you're correct or incorrect. We want the animation or the image. And then after that, we want, and I'll add another div for that. And these might be the wrong specs for the div, but that's fine. And then we want the player avatar. which I'll copy from here. No, I'll actually copy from here. And then we'll place that over here. And this should actually be next player. Yep, next player. And this goes away because this will never be true. And we want something like this. And then we want to, of course, change this to be the correct text based on correct or incorrect. So we can do that now here. I kind of don't want to, so I should probably be able to do, template, if answered is correct. Template. I feel like this should work. So it'll say correct, right? And it'll say incorrect, depending. So now I can come in here and add the incorrect state. And I think insofar as the elements being on the page, that should be it. So now we have this with our coffee mug. And now if you're incorrect, we see this. So a number of changes we need to make here. So the elements are all there, right? The incorrect is there. So we need to adjust its sizing and everything. The windows there, we want it to be up top. And then this, we want to take that bottom portion. And then we need a next up in front of it. So let's go ahead and add that next up first. Simple things first, I guess. So here, I can have a span which says next up. And maybe we can add some styling to it. Let's center everything using our friend Flex. And now everything is aligned. It's just, I probably don't want these gaps per se, because the spacing is kind of present in one way or another already. Next player can be undefined. And so that's a good point. We only want this VF next player, right? I'll bring that up. And okay, so let's work on the sizing, top to bottom. First, this incorrect. And the spacing for this incorrect, top 40 pixels, so P10, 32 pixels here, but I might space it equally. Let's see. So that's this span here. Just trying to figure out how I want it. I'll start off with a P8, actually, just to see. And then let's see what the size of this thing is. It's 64. And 64 is 16. So it's definitely not text base. It's 24 or 6. I'm just going to keep going up. I don't know how to do math. So 64 is probably too large for us. So I'm going to go with 5. That looks good to me. The font is font below. And then we want to pull this image up. Let me take a look to see what's actually happening here. So that's incorrect, right? That should not be the space we take up. So it's this that's sort of taking up most of the space. And why is that? Let's see what element this is. Is it that H full? Once I get rid of that H full, now it's starting to seem a bit more sensible. Everything in this is centered, so I'm actually okay with that. We'll double check a little bit how Mary feels about it once this is sized up. appropriately. And I believe I have somewhere else in the code where we do, I think, first up, right? So we have this already properly sized. So bring this here, and I think the only difference I want here is a next player. And then we can style, the next step. Okay, that's not at all what I was expecting. But I suppose, right, yeah, so that's because the text size is out here. And so I think that makes sense for us to bring everything from here into here. And if there's any inconsistencies, then I will adjust. We can actually get rid of this because I see in the example here, this band doesn't have any of its own styling. So we get this. I don't love this, and I want to maybe fix it later at some point, but in this view now, that looks correct with some spacing adjustments here required still. Although this is equally spaced, definitely this gap here plus this gap over here, this padding here, the combination of which is creating this issue. So we can actually just, over here, instead of saying P8, we can say PX8 and then PT8. So there's no bottom padding there, so things are a bit closer, a little bit more equal, but then we want a bit more spacing here. According to, no, we don't actually. They're fairly equally spaced here. So that looks fine, except that everything is pulled up a little, which we can also accommodate. Let's see here. The whole thing is item center, justify center. We're using column. So I believe it's the item center that goes away. No, I guess not. I keep mixing up neither one of those. So I guess I'm not looking at the right place in the code. And that's because this one is taking over. I do have some duplicate. No, that's also not why. But I guess I do have a bunch of duplication here. What happened there? Hold on. Yeah, so is that, not this one. And here, what I can probably do is also just maybe just add some of that padding here. So now we have this. Although for whatever reason, I feel like this should have a little bit more space, but let me add some. Let me add a little bit. And then we'll see how it feels. Just making sure we're in the right place. And then this div here, if I had maybe PT4, that looks a bit, I kind of want to add more, Mary, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to almost make it feel like visually there's a separation between this and this.
Yeah.
And so maybe doing that isn't the best way. This ought to probably increase. So it's a PT here, and then PB, let's say even 20, just to, whoa, that does nothing. Not what I expected. 30? Okay, so it is what I expected, and it does need to be quite a bit. Here, what if I say 40? Did I save? Maybe that's too much. Let's see if I can do 35. It probably shouldn't be padding either. It should be like margin bottom. That's fine to me. Like this top area is kind of correct, and this bottom area is who's next up. And then I believe the button also changed to next turn. And so here I can go next up. And it's in a couple places, I forget why. But these now become next turn. And let's replace that. Let's see what that looks like in the app. Next turn. I just need to figure out what to do with this button. We need to fix this. Who coded this, Mary? Who's responsible for this disaster?
What is happening here?
What's
the pattern?
Do you not know the answer?
Is the next one 0, maybe?
I'm sorry, but you're out of time. We do have to fix that too. We have to. What I actually want to do is to play it with with 20 students in there, so we get every question and see how much, like, kind of by feel, how much time it should take to answer that question.
Yeah.
Reveal answer. You're right. It is 0. That's good work.
I'm ready for the playtest.
You mean right now?
No.
Like, you're ready in your life. Okay.
Yes, at some point.
And then, are we ready for the Lottie?
Yeah, I just sent you a
you did.
link.
Okay, great. And if you look at the embed on the Lottie for the view, I want to see if it gives you a different height and a width, because that's missing from our adjustment here. So let me go find that Lottie space. Let's get here. Let's paste that in. It's still going to take the same amount of space, but now in that same amount of space, it's larger, which means that we should be able to be a bit more confident in reducing this space here. The partial problem here is that because this is 120 by 120, and so was the other one, the spacing will be a little weird here because
I feel like maybe we should just use code.
Is that I was gonna suggest it, but I was holding back. I was like, because at the same time, I feel like this should also be fairly, like, once you have more experience with it, it should be fairly streamlined to, like, accommodate for the expected height.
I think it's still a cool tool to, like, almost like a prototype.
Yeah.
And then get a feel for what I want to happen. So I don't think it's like wasted work or anything like that.
No, of course not. I don't think any of the work is wasted necessarily. But I also think that I wonder if in a paid version they would have a CSS export. And if they don't, I'd almost question why they don't. They'd be like, hey, we're Lottie. We want to Lottify everything. So, we're not going to give you the CSS, even though we could.
It seems like the most common export for Lottie animations is JSON. But
what's in the JSON?
Good question. I guess let's see. I'll copy it, and I'm not sure what to do with it, so I'll send it to you.
I mean, it's effectively the same. I mean, because it's still a black box. Let's just say we don't know what's in there. We could load it up here and see. It's effectively this, but it's still being processed by the Lottie processor. I don't naturally see anything in here that would indicate a quick and easy way for us to extract keyframes and animation styles, but that all that information is embedded in here one way or another. So, and maybe even the SVG information is here somewhere, potentially. I'm not sure. So that's what that is. Right now, we just have a spacing issue now where this shows up a little bit different than the incorrect version, but that's fixable. I guess when Mary rather uses CSS to do that work. I just noticed 2-hump camel is not part of the set, so I'm just going to remove it. But otherwise, I'm happy to commit what we have for now, even with this spacing adjustment that still needs to come. So here I've removed the 2-hump camel. And then here we added a div just for the reveal answer, which really was the same apart from removing the images or the animations from here. And then we have another div for correct and incorrect. And then, yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. And we've had our next player alignment and adjustment. So there we go. Making correct, incorrect into its own div. There you go. Okay, so oh, what is this? I have a link.
A present.
I have a link shared from a friend, and it's okay. All right. It's a dancing mug. Let's see if we can't fit it in now. So in this case, I'm going to copy it as is from here. And I don't remember what I called it. So I'm going to go here. Heart mug.
Cry.
Yeah. Because, I know where the cry is, right? So here, wholesale, we will replace this. SVG, we will get rid of the width and the height because we want that still to come from the parent. And then we'll load up the screen where that is demonstrated here. And I don't see it. So immediately,
it's because of the fill.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So the CSS was not copied. And so let's do that. So we want style, scoped. And let's close that up as well. And let's wholesale copy this.
Spooky.
And then let me get back here, save, and let's see what this looks like. This is exported from Figma directly. Mary, is that correct? No. You made it by hand?
I mean, I used AI as a starting point.
You used AI? Okay.
And then I tweaked it over time.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. So then I will review the code very quickly to see whether, okay, so we're doing this business here. And I don't see any sort of exaggerated repetitions here. So I think we're good. And let's see how that looks in app now. It looks much subtler here. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can't increase the size of the heart mug in app. So it's H30. I'm going to make it H40 here because now it's its own thing as well. So I think it could be even bigger. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more appropriate. I don't know what spacing this area will take, but I feel like this is cool. This looks like the coffee's hot. And yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's see if we can't commit. So yeah, I mean, this is a wholesale change, really. I mean, look at this. And here's the code from AI Mary. Let's
Vibe CSS.
yeah. And then here we've just changed the height of this. We might reduce it later as we, like there's so many questions. It's hard to quickly test whether any given question will give us the right space distribution. But for now, this is fine. Adding animated mug. Let me push the code here. Okay, so I think so in our play page, one of the remaining things that I didn't, you added proper check marks here. That makes sense. Time each question to see how long it ought to take. What else? Honestly, I think that's really it.
You want to play with sounds?
Yeah, let's play with sounds. Yeah, let's do it. So the sounds are here.
Yeah, if you open that, I just put in a couple options.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I cannot hear.
Yeah. So the timer is a little interesting. Let me reshare my screen with the tab business, so that we can feel the sound. So I guess let's wait for it. So I guess my my thoughts with this are, when does it play?
So I was thinking the last 10 seconds, but
okay,
it depends on I guess it depends on how long each question takes. Because if it's only 20 seconds, then it's kind of
too much. Yeah. I think what we might be able to do is separate the chime from the timer, if that's possible. And then we can play the timer clip for the amount of time that it ought to be played, and then at the end, play the chime. Where did you steal these from?
It's a site called Pixabay, I think.
Pixabay?
Yeah, Pixabay.
Bay as in BAE?
No, BAY.
Okay, well, disappointing. Okay, so let's listen to the correct sounds.
Trademark that.
Yeah. Okay, very intense. Very intense.
I love this one.
Okay. Not intense. I think so. I'm developing a concern for the sounds, any sound actually. So it's not just the pick sounds here. And we'll implement them and we'll see whether this concern is relevant or not. So I don't think the concern should necessarily prevent us from proceeding. Is whether it'll feel worn out to have these sounds play over and over and over again, and whether there'll be a fatigue amongst the players and the facilitators to be like, oh, okay, click, 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 click. Except for the sound, I feel like because I personally like it, we should have maybe 10 seconds of it. Okay, so let's implement these. Let's see what they feel like. But I'll push a challenge back towards you, Mary, which is, can the sounds that we pick be half to 1 second, like a half a second sound or a 1 second sound? So, and I just want to feel what that might feel like. Like, is there a quicker way of communicating this without it feeling like it's overplayed? Unless you disagree.
I mean, I think I've thought about this as well, especially when I think about how, the rest of the app has no sound.
Mhm.
So it might feel very like sudden out of nowhere. So
Mm,
I think like one thing that I was thinking about, like if we implement this and it feels very jarring, is like we could either tone down these sounds or add more ambient sounds to the
I see.
rest of the
Interesting.
app.
Okay.
But definitely feel like, I mean, not that anybody's asking for it, but I can see a case where you might want to give the facilitator control whether they want to mute sounds or not.
Yeah, of course. Maybe let's start with this one because it's no, let's not. Let's let's start with this one because it's longer because I want to test my own theory of the longer the sound, the I'm curious how it will feel. So let's start with the one that maybe I'm not as in line with yet. And let's see how that feels. And maybe in game, my feelings may change. Okay. I'm going to download this sound, which is silly trumpet. And then additionally, we'll download this 5-second sound, which is, we don't know. We don't know what it is. It's brass fail. Okay. How to play sounds on the internet. Let's see. So I'm going to stop. Can I do replace screen sharing here? I can. Entire screen in here. And allegedly we should be back to full screen. Okay, playing sounds on the internet. So there is a pure JavaScripty way of doing it, but I actually haven't before played around with sounds much. So I want to see if I can't use view use. I'm wondering if it has any functions particularly related to sound. I recall that there were. And play sound effects reactively. Okay. And let's see what that looks like in the code. So we would have an MP3 file, which I'm hoping our files are correct, that we import just like a component or an image. And then use sound, return play, and it becomes a function that gets run. And my assumption is as the function, whoa, who did this? Weird. I didn't change anything.
What happened?
I don't know. Our friend Restream decided to restream our stream.
I was having trouble with like restream earlier too.
Okay. Maybe they're upset at us. Right. So the other thing I want to look at is options here to see what kinds of things. So there's volume. This playback rate, I don't know what that means. So okay. It can be used to slow down or speed up the sound. Interrupt specifies whether or not the sound should be able to overlap. It's called again. I guess I'm curious how we would stop the sound from playing. Okay, so it returns these methods as well. So, even if there was a clip that we had, okay, so we can potentially, I wonder if there's also a way to play it on repeat loop. Okay, I'm not finding those things, but I think maybe if we read the docs, we might find something. That's fine. And then sprite is interesting, but it seems advanced and probably not worth our time. Is the length of the sample in milliseconds. It'll be null until the sample has been loaded. Okay, so it grants you access to the underlying howl instance. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's using something called howler. And I guess the only other thing is package. I don't have use view here. I don't know if use view view is by default available, but I think I can just add it here like this. And let's see. Yeah, let's just implement it and see what it feels like. Okay. All right. So we have the sounds that we have are brass, fail, and silly trumpet. Let's start with the silly trumpet situation. So here we should begin to see the sounds play. So the sounds will not play when I'm sharing my screen as I'm flipping back and forth. But maybe I can reshare my screen as a tab when the sounds are implemented. So I will be the first one to hear them, and then we'll share them with the world. Okay, so let me go back to the reference here. I want to copy the sound into my assets folder here, and then import it. Okay, I can do that. That can be accomplished. Assets. Okay, yeah, assets, Victor. Sounds. And then we'll copy from downloads. And then this is called Silly Trumpet. And we'll also additionally copy brass fail. And let's get back into the code and see if we can't implement it. So here we'll want to import silly trumpet from assets. No. Let me get the exact name. Silly trumpet. I saw it there. There you go. And .mp3. Okay. And while we're here, we can also get brass fail from, it's completely making up a name. And here's the correct one. Okay, great. So now that we have that, let's see the use of it. Got it. Okay. So what I'll do here is I'll maybe even up top. Why not? What does it matter? So we have use sound. Do I need to import it? It doesn't seem to have a either. Cannot find use sound. So import use sound. Nope. From @use sound. Yep. And let's see if there isn't a place to go here. Yeah, there is, and that seems to be correct. Although it doesn't like it still. And why is that? Is not callable. Has no signatures. So I think I want to do something like this. And because it's not the default import, it is a function export. Okay, and so this becomes our silly trumpet. I'll keep that there for now. And here we'll say, we can't say play trumpet, we'll say play trumpet here. Okay. And then we want to run the play trumpet sound. I guess we could do it with correct, right? When the answer state is being set, if it's correct here, so I can say something like, almost like this, except for, this should be correct. And then we'll take this and we'll stop here. And let's just test for correct first. Okay, just that pause was because I was having a bunch of thoughts around, yeah, that makes sense. I forgot something here. This should be sounds. And like yeah, I don't know if this is useful, but small mild lecture, I guess, for me is because I guess when you're like, let's say I made the mistake, right? Because I didn't copy paste. I made the mistake of just following my heart, and I was wrong. But the moment I see this error, I'm actually like scanning every single character here. Like I sometimes I miss it, but often like 80% of the time it's super instinctual to be like, oh, something's wrong. And I'm like, oh, I made the mistake. Where did I make a mistake? I need to make sure every character is correct. And so the moment I saw it, I scanned every character. I'm like, oh, I forgot sounds. And that could easily take much longer to get to, right? In this case, it was like, felt fairly quick. But okay. So next turn, reveal answer. I can tell you that it works. You just have to take my word for it. Listen. Do you want to hear it first, or should I implement the fill?
Okay, go ahead.
What do you want? Tell me what you...
I can be patient.
All right. So you're not going to eat the marshmallow immediately. Okay. So it shouldn't take too long. So now we can, that might not be the right point because we're using the button click as a triggering point. It may or may not be the right point, but that's fine. So here I can copy this whole thing here and use brass fill here and then play, I'll call it brass. And then let's go where this is in the code and let's add that else if business. And I can tell you that it works. I feel like a reporter. All right, what was that?
You seem very amused.
I am, because I feel like a reporter who's like, I'm on the scene, Mary, and I can tell you that it works. And you just have to, like, because you're not on the scene, you didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So I'm just reporting, like, after the fact. I'm like, when the teacher clicked the incorrect button. When the teacher clicked the incorrect button, we heard, wow, 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 wow. Now back to the studio. So that's, when I was amused, that's kind of the scenario I was imagining for myself. All right, so that's enough amusement. And I will stop sharing my screen and reshare it with the tab so we can feel what it, we can get a sense of what it feels like in game. And then I kind of want to also play around with it a little bit. So here we are, and we do need to fix this. So like that, maybe the size of this is dependent on the remaining space. We'll see. Correct? Ready? How did that feel?
I like it, but I can see it getting old.
Yeah,
like,
but
I
maybe
almost wonder if it should be like, scope creep alert, but like, what if it's like a library of different sound effects and it kind of randomly plays?
That's totally possible as well. It's not too hard to implement. Although, the trumpet sound being present with the trumpet.
That's true.
Make sense? I was actually thinking, what if the incorrect sound was sort of like rain?
Like thunder and lightning.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what incorrect feels like?
So sad.
Sad, but I do feel like there's a mismatch in the imagery
yeah.
and the sound. I want to do this because the wah 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 sound. I'll change my tab quickly just so I know, but I guess you guys won't see it. The incorrect sound is 5 seconds. The correct sound is 3 seconds. It might be 6 seconds or 4 seconds as well, I guess, because the sound thing is not as precise. What I want to do is I want to act as if I'm a tired teacher or student. I'm going to just play on the sound again. I want to click next quickly. Although at the same time, having that said, I had another idea to slow down the game, which I'll share after we test this. So reveal, I'm going to press incorrect, and then 1 second in, I'm going to press next step. So that's what that feels like. What we'll quickly do is implement stop. And we'll say stop brass. And when, and I'm not sure if this will work. Are there any watches here? Watch the turn ref. This happens when the turn changes, which is kind of what happens here. So can I just do stop brass here? I don't know if this will work. Let's see. So click. And that's sort of abrupt. Like, I wonder what, like if that happens, should there be a accommodation for it or not? Unclear to me. I don't like the abrupt ending, but I also don't like the overflow of the sound either. Just some questions. I'm going to leave the abrupt ending though, because it feels more correct to me than not. And chime in if you have feelings, Mary.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I also wonder if scope creep, if the teacher can have
Sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you over the sounds of the game. Sorry, go ahead.
I do like this trumpet. It's amazing. But I was saying that I wonder if the teacher should have an option between like an elegant version and a goofy version. So that
yeah,
if they want to be goofy, they can.
I think, yeah, I mean, ultimately, at some point, we can consider that. The idea of theming kind of makes sense. Like there's a goofy theme, and which might even change some of the visuals potentially. Could be a different number of ways that can happen. But okay, so it does feel a little long to me, but that's just in casual use, not in gameplay. Having that said, the thing that I kind of want to have here, it might be the wrong thing to do, but when next turn gets clicked, I actually don't want to immediately go to the next turn. I want like a 3, 2, boom. A countdown and it visually being displayed. And the reason for that is the clicker is the teacher, but the visual readiness will be from the student. And those two things are disconnected because and that's where the time starts. So my sense was, I kind of want to slow it down a little bit. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that idea. It also gives the students a moment to compose themselves.
Yeah, let me see if I can't maybe do a quick implementation of it. Would that be okay? Or wait, how are you doing for time? No, that would not be okay.
I do have to go
to
soon.
You have to perform friendship. So maybe we could do that later. That could be what I'll do is I'll commit what we have now for sounds.
Wait, but I do want to share
Oh.
this.
Oh, Mary has things from the internet. Okay, so let me commit this. Adding sounds. I'm not entirely sold on the sound experience just yet, though. TBH, which stands for to be honest. Let me share my entire screen. And let's see. I felt like this would be the case. And let's do the replacement live and prevent Mary from performing friendship duties. Okay, where are we? I need to go to the trumpet file, and I can replace this wholesale. Let me do that again. Okay, and then this time I won't forget to. I didn't forget last time. I just wasn't expecting it to not do anything without the CSS. I thought maybe something would display. I was trying to do it step by step. Okay, so now wholesale copied. This should not be script setup. This should be style scoped. No thanks, AI. Okay. So now going back into the app.
Wait, what about the width and the height?
Correct. Thank you. And going back into the app now and correct. I can hear the sounds. This is not our image, by the way. So, because we never changed the Lottie.
Oh, right.
So now I want to bring back the Trump pet if correct, and this can go away. And this now should be, let's double check if that is true. That is true because we can see our path here.
I learned something neat in this. Like I learned that you can group multiple paths in like using a G tag.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Did you use that in the? Yeah, let's take a look and look for G. Yeah, so applying the class to multiple paths. And then was it for the animation purposes as well?
Yeah. So at first I just added the class to like multiple paths, and then it was like wonky.
Yeah.
The boxes, they're not moving together. So I did a search and learned something new.
Awesome. Cool. All right, so let's commit this now that we have a very sort of, the only other thing I think I want to also commit now is the heart mug. And just because the size is too much, I'm happy with it being smaller. And later on, I can adjust the spacing here. Okay. I'm actually going to do that. I might do PB 12. We'll see we'll see. So I'm going to live with this for now because we ultimately have to go through every single question, every screen with every question to see what it feels like, because this has not been stress tested yet from that perspective. So I forgot to add the sounds in my last commit, unfortunately, so they'll go in here. And then here we're changing. Is this from Mary or AI Mary?
Mostly Mary.
Mostly Mary, she says.
I searched for like the group thing.
So it's from Google Mary?
What's Google?
You don't, when you say you search, you don't Google?
I did not Google.
Are you willing to share what you search on?
What did I search? I used ChatGPT.
Oh, so it is AI Mary. It was AI Mary all along.
I searched my two paths are not moving together. Why?
Okay, good. Okay, that's good. So it's AI Mary.
Some of it is helpful, some of it not as much.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here, sorry, I need to. Sorry, I know you have to go. This is not correct. What I did here. I mean, it's correct. It's not complete because I need to remove this, and then I can also, from my package.json, remove this. I'll just have to reconfigure the packages and have that included as well. Just want to be, like if we're not using any lotties, then, and if we ever do later decide to do so, we can bring that back. Okay. So now replacing Lottie trumpet with Mary trumpet. Okay. And I'll push this and we can call it a night. Alrighty. What are we going to do next?
What are we going to do next? Are we feeling... I guess we need to figure out the sound stuff still, but...
Yeah, we need to test every screen.
Yeah.
We need to test every question. And because we need to time every question. How much time do we need for a question? And then how much time we need for a question? And then spacing, testing the screen and sounds. And then the rest of it, like there's so many other features that I don't want to think about now. Obviously, theming is one of them, but like difficulty ranges as the rounds change, time as the rounds change. But I'm less concerned about that stuff now. I want to feel like, are we giving people enough time to answer a question? And that's, because the last thing I want to do is like build features and then it never gets used. And like, what are we doing then? I feel like once we get the timing correct and some visuals correct, we're ready, I think.
Yeah. You want to aim for a test session on Friday?
If you can collect friends, if you can be the friendship whisperer, then yeah, let's go.
I will do my best.
Okay, let's do a test play on Friday. I will see if I don't really have any friends, but I'll see.
Yeah,
sorry, present company excluded. But I was afraid of saying that because you might say actually present company also. Present company included, Adnan. Nice try.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Lead us out, boss.
Well, thank you for coming to this episode of Product Like It's Friday. I have to look at my watch every single time, even though it's Wednesday. We'll see you maybe tomorrow, but definitely on Friday.
At a random time in the future.
Yes.
All right. Let's go home, everyone.